Hi, I'm Amanda and I like to read and write. Today's video is going to be the reviews of all the books that I've read over the last 2 weeks since the last review. I decided it would be easier to remember what I had just read if I went ahead and filmed my reviews as soon as I finished reading the books. So that's the way I've done it, and you're gonna see me looking any kind of way whenever I finish reading a book. So get ready for some crazy hair, some tired eyes, and some really good books. Okay, so I finished another book. This one is a physical book, and it's because it is a school book that I was reading with my boys. And it is To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. I don't know how I got to be 43 years old and I've never read this book before, but that's what happened. We finished it tonight and I thought that it was great. I loved the character Scout. Well, her name is Jean Louise, but of course they call her Scout. Anyway, I loved her. I loved Atticus. I loved everything about it. First of all, I loved the little snark that she had all the time. Like, I would just crack up laughing at the phrases that she said that were just like underhanded. Like an backhanded compliment, as they call them. Anyway, I thought that it was just great. And the whole dialogue about race relations, I know this was set in the 1930s, it sounds like. And I know she wrote it, or it came out in 1960. I don't know when she wrote it, but it came out in 1960 and it was written about the 1930s. Somebody gave I'm guessing it was the late 30s maybe, somebody gave a class presentation about Hitler being mean to the Jews or like trying to separate them out, but it hadn't really, like, nobody knew for sure what was happening over there. So I feel like it wasn't the 40s yet, but I would say maybe late 30s. Anyway, that doesn't really matter, except that just the people and the realness of the situation. Like, I feel like I grew up in a place that was very much like Macomb County, and I was just, I don't know, I loved every bit of it. Like, and I just want all daddies to be like Atticus in one way or another. It was sad and it was hard in parts, and reading it with my kids, like, we had some really good discussions, and I loved it so much. So of course it's getting 5 stars from me. And yeah, I don't know about reading the other book that she wrote. I mean, I know To Kill a Mockingbird came out in 1960, it says, and then the next book, Go Set a Watchman, came out in 2015, and then she died in 2016. So I need to look that up. Like, I'm so confused about her writing 2 books in her life, and they're like 50 years apart or something. So I don't know. But anyway, if the writing is as good in the second book or in her other book as it is in this book, then it's got to be good. I mean, anyway, that was it. I liked it. I'm going to give it 5 stars. And I might put her other book on my TBR list. I'm going to go look it up and find out why so long in between the 2 books. But then I'll probably put it on there to at least try it. I mean, I might as well try it out, right? I don't know. Nothing says I have to finish it if I don't like it. So anyway, there we go. So I finished another audiobook today because I'm in the car a lot. This one is called A Royal Pain or A Royal Flush. I don't know why I can't remember. Anyway, I'll put it right here. It's by Reese Bowen, and it is a series. This is the 3rd book in the series, and it's about Lady Georgiana, who is in line to the throne, but she's like 34th or something in line to the British throne, and it's set in the 1930s. This one specifically in 1932, and she is the younger sibling, the little sister of the Duke, of a Duke, and so she's considered like near royalty because she is the second cousin to the king or whatever, but she is they have no money, and her brother and his wife, she was living with them, and she must be like 24, 23. She's young, but she's old enough that she needs to get married. Like, all of her friends are like, you need to get married. The queen calls her to come visit her sometimes, and she's like, why are you not getting married? We can set you up with like a prince of this country. And Georgiana's like, I want to marry for love. And everybody's like, okay, like, that's not what we do around here. But anyway, so her brother doesn't have any money, and she has convinced him that she's going to go live at their London house, because they live in Scotland, is where their like castle is. And so she's gone to London to live. And in the first book, this all happens in the first book, she convinces him that she's going to move to London. And she doesn't tell anybody that she doesn't really have any people to help her. Like, she's got no lady in waiting to help her get dressed, like a maid. She's got no maids to help her get dressed. She doesn't know how to she doesn't know how to start a fire in the fireplace. So she's freezing when she first gets to London. So anyway, it's funny. It's got some really cute parts in it. And then she's also solving mysteries kind of accidentally. It's really well written, where you're just like, who did this? Like, why is this happening when she's around? And it's just one of those things where like a dead body happens to be there, or that she's at a party with somebody and then that person dies, and Scotland Yard like comes to her and they're like, you were the last person that talked to him. And she's like, I don't know. So anyway, and then there is kind of a love interest that's happening, and she kind of likes him and he kind of likes her, but they're on again, off again, I guess. And there's just the whole proper lady thing, in addition to it is the 1930s and people are trying to like handle themselves during a depression, and none of the royalty really has a lot of money. And the prince who is next in line to be king, I'm sure he has a name, like a real title, but anyway, he's the next one to be king, and he won't get married. And there's like an American actress who is already married that the prince is following around, and so the queen is trying to get Georgiana to help her get this woman away from her son who's gonna be king. So she's got this whole storyline going on this side, and then she's got that there's a murder happening, and then there's Darcy, who is he is Irish and a Catholic, and so she's like, I don't know how this is going to work anyway, because he's a Catholic. Anyway, it just has so many little subplots and little things running through it that just continue on for book after book, I guess. I don't know. I'm on the third one, and I'm just going to keep going. And they are wonderful on audio, because the woman reads them with all the right accents, like, especially because they're in Scotland all the time, and they're in England, and her grandfather on her mother's side has a Cockney accent. And so she does the Cockney accent when he's talking. She does all the little prim royal accents when they're talking. She does the Scottish accents. And then when Darcy's talking, she's got an Irish accent. So this woman is very good at all of the voices. And she does a really good job of distincting between the characters. Like, her friend has a distinct voice. Her mother has a different voice. Her mother came in today while I was listening. Her mother said something, and I was like, oh, that's her mother. And then she's like, I heard my mother coming. And I was like, well, I already knew that. So anyway, it's just a really cute book. And if you like cozy mysteries, I guess we'll call it, with a little bit of British royalty thrown in, then you need to read it. I seem to always find a place where there's a light behind me, and if I cover it up, it makes it too dark in here. Again, the sun is not out yet. Maybe I can turn. There we go. I'm getting ready to walk around the track this morning, but I finished a book last night and I had to tell you about it. It's called Hope Never Dies, and you can look right there and see, maybe automatically you can see who's in it and what it's about, or at least who's in it. It is told from the point of view of Joe Biden. It was one of the weirdest books I've ever read. It was like a buddy cop thing where I don't even know how to describe it. The basic plot is this. Joe is friends with somebody who drives an Amtrak in Delaware, Wilmington, Delaware. And that guy ends up dead, and through a series of questioning and finding clues, Joe Biden and Barack Obama solve the mystery of his death. Now, when I first read about the book, I was like, oh, this is somebody who is a fan of Biden and Obama, and they are like telling the story as if to say how great they are. But there are a lot of points in this where Joe comes off as a complete idiot. Like, at one point his phone is ringing and he's like, that's not my phone. And they're just staring at him and they're like, can you answer that please? And he pulls his phone out and it is his phone. So he's like, I put my phone on vibrate, and then he pulls it out and it's his phone. And there are just so many other times where he's just seen as a clumsy, old, forgetful man. I kept going back and forth wondering if the author was a fan or making fun of him. And there were just parts of it that were pretty funny, actually. But overall, I gave it a 3.5 stars. It was cute, like I said, but I mean, it was not great. And I did see that there was another book, and I will not be putting that on my list. I guess if you are a fan of Biden and possibly Obama, he's not in it a ton, but he's in it enough, then you might like this. But also you might get offended if you are a fan and you are concerned with people making fun of him for being old, because they certainly do in this book. As far as the mystery goes, the mystery would have been a really good mystery on its own without throwing in Biden solving the mysteries. So that part was actually pretty good. But the whole Biden thing was just weird. Okay, so I'm going to get out here and go walk on the track and start my next book, which is something for the Plus catalog, and I'm excited about it. I have just a second to do a really quick book review before my people get here. We're going out to dinner tonight. So it's called Sidekick, and it's by two different people, a Jamie and a CJ something. Anyway, it's a superhero. He's a teenager and he's a superhero. Well, he's technically a sidekick, but he doesn't want to admit it. Anyway, it was really cute. I'm not going to say anything else about it because it does have some twists in it that were pretty good. So it's in the Plus catalog on Audible. Well, it's not early in the morning this time. It's kind of late at night. And first of all, I wanted to say a little bit more about that Sidekick book. I had to cut off fast because we were getting ready to go to dinner. But it's told from the point of view of the 15-year-old, and it's a YA, a young adult book. And he has a photographic memory, I guess it's called. He can remember everything, but also he can copy anything that he sees somebody do. So he's learned all these martial arts because as soon as he watches somebody do it, he can copy it and do it himself. So that was really cool. And he's working with a superhero, and the superhero is in a guild, I guess, or some kind of, that's what it must be, is some kind of guild. And I'm trying to figure out how to say it without giving away some of the main plot, so I just won't. Except the boy's not quite in the guild yet because he is like an apprentice, and then he'll be officially welcomed into the guild as he's gotten older or as he gets more experience. So anyway, right now he's 16. His mother does not know that he is a superhero, but he does have a lot of tech and a lot of really expensive gear, and she starts discovering it. And of course, what does she think her 16-year-old with no job but all of a sudden money and gadgets is doing? Right. So anyway, it's just a cute book, like a nice #1 in a series that leads you through a thing. This is a new to me author that I didn't know before. This was actually my Plus read for this time, my Audible Plus, which means that it just came out in the last month. So I'm moving that author over to my old author list, and hoping that a new book comes out soon in this series and I can read more about the superheroes. I have the other book that I wanted to tell you about. It's not, first of all, it's not early in the morning. It is dark outside, but that's because it's late at night. Like, it's almost midnight, but there is a book that I've been reading on Kindle forever. Like, it's taken me 4 or 5 days to finish this book. I think it doesn't even have 300 pages in it, but it just kind of drug on and on and on. It's called Zero at the Bone. It is one of the books that was on my new author list, which means I heard about it from somewhere and I did not make a note in my thing, so I don't know where it came from. It is written by Jane Saville, and it is, I guess basically it's a romance. It is an LGBTQ romance. If you just take all the romance stuff out of it, it is a really good book just about hitmen and WITSEC, Witness Protection Program, and all that stuff. With the romance thrown in there, it's okay. The romance is not, it's not my favorite trope that they used where, you know, somebody's protecting somebody. Actually, there was a little bit of a twist on that. That's not exactly what it was. It ended up being like that. That part seemed to kind of drag on for me, which is weird because usually romances are the reason that I pick up a book. Although this book, because it was on my new list, I honestly didn't know what it was about at all. And based on the cover, well, which you saw, I just thought that it was going to be some kind of mystery with maybe a thriller with guns in it. Anyway, overall, I thought it was a good book. I'm going to give it 4 stars. Like I said, there were just some parts in it that kind of drug on a little bit. And the reviews on it are kind of mixed as well. Some people love it, like it is their favorite book to read. Somebody said that they loved it so much when they read the Kindle version, they couldn't wait to get to the audio version. I will say, as somebody who is from the South, the Southern accent that they tried to write for one of the characters was annoying to me. Like, I just did not like it. And then that was a few people's complaints about the audio version, is that they said that the person doing the audio, doing the recording, didn't have a very good Southern accent. But that might not be his fault. It might be the words that were written for him to say. I don't know. I didn't listen to it on audio, so I can't comment on that. So I am jumping in here because as I was editing this video, I realized that this video is getting way too long. So I guess I just read way too many books to do a video every couple of weeks. Maybe I need to start doing them more frequently. So I think what I'm going to do is shoot for like 15 minutes, and every 15 minutes worth of video around there, I'll just come in and say bye and finish it off. So that's what I'm going to do this time. And I am glad that you've watched, and I hope that you found some books that you want to read. And if you've read any of the books that I talked about or that I read, let me know. I would love to discuss the books with you. There are more to come, I promise, because like I said, I have too much film left right now, and so I'm going to go ahead and start editing the next video. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.